Meanwhile, the Biden administration has been accused of weaponizing the DOJ against parents after the Defense Department tapped the FBI to investigate threats against school staffers.
Our next guest says it's time for Attorney General Merrick Garland to resign.
Republican candidate for Senate from the great state of Ohio, J.D. Vance, joins us live on the Curvy Couch. Good morning to you, J.D.
Good morning.
Okay, so, we just saw the images of that guy who was, essentially hauled out by the cops. Now we know why he was so frustrated. And then the National School Board uses him as an example to say, look, these guys are domestic terrorists. He felt his daughter had been assaulted and wanted some answers, and they weren't helping him.
Absolutely. Can you blame him for reacting like that? My God. Look, the thing that bothers me so much about this is that one of the things our founding fathers loved about this country is that we loved self-government. We participated at the small level in self-government. These parents are pushing back against the mask mandates, against the gender ideology, against critical race theory, and the DOJ is basically weaponizing the people's own government against them. The Attorney General should be promoting this stuff, not making it harder.
Well, after everything going on in our country, crime has risen, drug cartels, open borders, moms are the real threat?
Yeah, exactly. We've got, you couldn't put it better, skyrocketing opioid abuse rates because of what's going on across the southern border. We've got murder rates in all of our big cities going through the roof, and Merrick Garland has basically decided that the real threat to our republic is moms and dads who care about the education of their children. It's really gross.
So you jump into politics, you've been in the limelight for a while because you're a best-selling book and, of course, the movie in your life, and you said you had success in business, Ivy League education, but now you're in this, you're getting a lot of slings and arrows your direction. How much, J.D., being that you raised $1.7 million the first 3 months, which is a staggering amount, are you looking what's happening in Virginia? And you're seeing Governor McAuliffe say something that I don't think parents should have a role in their kids' education. There is no critical race theory. Loudoun County, Virginia. How much are you studying that race to talk about your message?
Definitely studying it and watching it. And of course, critical race theory doesn't exist to these people, but we're going to prosecute the parents who protest against it as domestic terrorists, right? That doesn't make any sense. But look, I think that the left-wing ideology that we're experiencing in this country is that the state and that the government should control the minds of children, not families, right?
Sure.
Families have to raise their kids, not these schools.
And if you look at the two issues, we've got local elections coming up in the state of New Jersey. When people come to our door, they talk about two things. They talk about schools and they talk about supply chain, because that's the stuff that impacts us every day. You say, given what he has said, where he has, in your words, weaponized the FBI against parents, you say Merrick Garland has got to resign.
Absolutely. I've never seen anything like this, where the sitting Attorney General of the United States is basically turned against his own people. I absolutely think he should resign, because people should not feel like their government's coming against them when they speak their minds. That's what America's all about. He should absolutely step down.
Your election is in May. So you're in the fight right now. How's it going?
It's going really well. Look, we got a lot of momentum. Polls are moving our direction. We had a really good first quarter fundraising number. And what I really am excited about is that most of our donors are people who gave under $50, right? It's real people, middle-class people, not just the big donors. That's a big deal to me.
How much do you wish you could, it'd be to the Democrats' advantage to hurt you the most if Joe Manchin was to run? A moderate left, somebody maybe how Bill Clinton ran, that would be a much more interesting race. It seems like every Republican is running against severe left.
Yeah.
And the American people are being forced to make a decision, especially in Ohio.
It's because the leadership of the Democratic Party has gone really far to the left, but even a lot of moderate voters in the Democratic Party, they're not that crazy, and it's gonna be to our benefit on the Republican side if we can just tell a pro-American message.
That's why the governor of your state and the governor Barack Obama is going to be campaigning, the most popular Democrat, to hold on to New Jersey and hold on to Virginia, because the message that Joe Biden has been putting out there is not wanted.
Absolutely.
It's a crazy time.
Yeah, skyrocketing inflation. We're about to spend $5 trillion, even as we got ships unable to deliver American goods. We've got a drug wave, a crime wave coming across the southern border. And it's not just the problems, it's the leaders can't focus on the real issues.
I'm sure when you knock on people's door, they go, hey, there's that hillbilly elegy guy. J.D., thank you very much for stopping by our Curvy Couch.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, J.D. We wish you all the best.